Hello, we've decided to make a channel for friends and family to make cool stuff without having to search all over YouTube. We're putting stuff on here that we think is going to benefit y'all. You know, if there's ever a crisis or, you know, anything happens, you know, any kind of emergency. So what we're making today is actually a burner. An aluminum can, just regular Coke cans, whatever.
Alright, here's some of the basic tools that are helpful in making this burner can stove. Some of this stuff is optional, of course. The silicone is optional. I just use tape and some of my others. It holds up fine. It kind of melts in some areas, but you know, for a quick, efficient stove, you can make it however you want to make it. Okay, step one, you want to make some marks, and one of the easiest ways I've found of marking it is just with a basic square of some sort that has a ruler on both sides, and I just lay it down. And there's different ideas on measurements if you watch different videos on here, and what I found is easiest is putting my Sharpie, laying it on the mark on the measurement you want. You want your top to be just a little bit longer than the bottom piece, and I just lay my marker right on my mark, and I just roll it along, making the mark. As you can see, I've already marked it, but just for purposes of the video, I'm showing you how I do it. And you can get your measurements however is easiest for you. Just find a easy way to do it. And alright, now we're going to cut the top off. This is the really most important, is cutting this top ring out first before you do any of these cuts, because once you cut this, the can gets so flimsy it's hard to cut the top edge out. So this cut is the first and foremost important cut. And to do this, to accomplish it, just get your razor and kind of stick it down in that groove, and then just start scoring it around. And you just keep scoring it around until it gets thin enough, it will eventually just pop right out of there. And it'll pop right in there, or you can pull it out before it pops out. It doesn't really matter because we're going to cut our lines out anyway. So there's cutting the top out. Now to cut this, the way I've done it is I just lay the blade right in here and start a little hole. Try not to make it too jagged. Once you feel the tip of the blade going in, you just start kind of following your line that you made.
Looks don't really matter.
Yeah.
As long as it works.
As long as it gets the job done and it burns and it cooks your food and you survive. That's the key, yeah. Survival. We're not trying to win any shows or anything. And once you get down to that last little part, it kind of gets hard to cut, and what you can do is just kind of bend it until it pops right off. And from here, you can clean it up with a Dremel tool or some sandpaper. It's not really necessary, but it helps it if you clean it up a little bit, even with a file or something, and it'll help the two pieces go together once we get it ready. Now we'll cut the bottom portion out. Now that we've got the top cut off, we'll start cutting the bottom the same way. Just kind of get you a hole started, you know, just real gently. Don't force it, because then you'll split your can down the side. Once you feel your hole go in there, then you can kind of just, you get going too fast, and then you get a split down the side, and then when you go to put your two pieces together, it's a disaster. So you get there to the end and just kind of bend it, and it'll give you a little trouble. Come right off of there.
There's that top part.
And as you say, I didn't clean it, so it's still sticky in there. A lot of sugar.
But sugar will keep you alive in those times anyways.
Yeah. Okay, you got your top and your bottom portion. These two will go together, but there's one more step we got to add in place. You have to make a fleshing wall for the liquid to vaporize on the outer end. And I'll show you how we do that. I'll just get me some scissors and just find me a spot to cut, and I just cut right down the side. Open it up. And here you're gonna need to measure out. Get it where.
Y'all be careful because you can cut yourself real easy. There it is.
Measure out your fleshing to match basically your top measurement that you made on here, so that it can fit snug in there. And I made mine 1.5 inches. Like I said, the measurements are not real important, but they help.
Making a video right now?
Uh-huh.
Oh, crap. Sorry.
What?
And then just cut it right out. Just follow the line.
So he can make like stove.
It's a little thicker than the Coke cans.
Makes for a real durable stove. Yeah. So now what we'll do is we'll get our fleshing, and like I said, all this stuff can be cleaned up with a Dremel tool or some sandpaper for an easier fit. It just gives you a little less fits when you go trying to put it together. But what I do is I get this and kind of just get it in here inside that little lip there, and that sugar is actually going to help me hold this in place.
Oh, yeah.
That'll work. It might be a good idea not to clean them, but
yeah.
You kind of get it to your shape. You want it to be kind of a snug fit. You get it to the...
Here, let me zoom in for him real quick. Go ahead and snug fit in there real quick.
Yeah, you'll snug fit it. You know, it doesn't have to be perfect. You know, there's going to be... The liquid has to have some room to get in there. And you'll get it more or less snug. And if you're doing it with a clean can, it won't hold itself in place like this. But what you do is, once you get it kind of set where you want it, you just hold it, get you a stapler, and just drive a staple right there in the bottom, as you can see.
Let's zoom in on that.
Like so, with your prong side of the staple out, so you can have the smooth side inside. And you want to just kind of very gently just kind of shape it to the contour of the can, and you'll just kind of fit it right back in there with the staple down, so that it'll be submersed in the fluid, so there's no holes and no vapors leaking. And then here's the tricky part. You're going to want to start putting these together, but they're not going to go because they're the same size. So what's important to do is get you some little pliers and kind of go all around the edge, just kind of twisting and bending in to give it that Coke bottle top. Edge here, so that the two pieces will slide together good. And you don't really have to have these pliers. It just helps to get a good, as you can see, I could just use my fingernails if you don't have any pliers on hand. You can kind of just bend it with your fingers if you have to, and come up with the same end result basically. But it helps to have some little pliers on hand, because you can just get it done a little bit quicker and a little bit neater. And what you'll have is a little lipped contoured edge for the two pieces to go together. Stick your fleshing wall back in there, and then gently just try to start putting these together, and you get that lip will go. Oops, if I straighten this out a little bit. And just be careful not to slice yourself. It's sharp, but if you do it right, you won't cut yourself. And you'll see how the two pieces will kind of start to go together. And you real gently, don't force it, just kind of all the way around, keep it even, make sure that you do one side and then kind of go to the other side. If you go too fast or too hard with it, you're going to split it down the side, and then you're going to kind of defeat your purpose. And you'll feel it kind of go in there. Now the important part is getting this fleshing up underneath.
Let me zoom in on that.
You can see I got a gap so far right now. Is getting this fleshing to go up underneath that lip. So as you're getting closer, you're going to kind of have to watch what you're doing. Make sure it goes under so you don't crush the side of it. You keep just with your finger there, just kind of push it around and until you have it.
I'm doing it.
And as you can see, I have it under the lip there now. Give it one good little, not too hard because you don't want to crush it. And from there you can just get you a Sharpie and just kind of go around and smooth that out. Just anything that's going to kind of help the metal flatten up against that fleshing. And like I said, you can Dremel this down and smooth it out and basically get you a nice buffer wheel and shine this thing straight down to chrome so it all looks like that. But we're more into efficiency and just practicality and making sure it works, not really so much into looks. Okay, now you can do the holes before you start this whole thing or after. I just do it after. It doesn't really matter. The important thing is when you're doing it after, you don't want to jam your thumbtack in at an angle like this because you'll poke right through your fleshing and defeat the purpose. The important thing is right here on this lip where it starts to curve and go back up. You want to get right just a hair below that lip and get your thumbtack at an angle where you're going down so you're not poking into the fleshing. So you kind of just poke. Let me get where I can get where the camera can see me. I got it upside down. So.
Yeah, let me make sure. Let me zoom in.
Yeah, I got it upside down for filming purposes here, but you kind of get it at an angle where you're pushing at a downward motion. If you have it the other way, I'm going to go up. And just kind of twist until your thumbtack pokes through the can. And you can see where it's kind of pushing against the fleshing because I'm going at a downward angle, but I'm not going to puncture the fleshing. Okay, so we got one hole. Now what you'll do is make another hole directly on the opposite side of it. So just kind of eyeball it. It doesn't have to be perfect. And you'll do the same thing on this side.
Give him one, you know how he is.
Okay, as you can see, I've completed the holes going around, 16 holes. And the best way to achieve that is just like I said, make one hole on one side and then go exactly opposite. And then turn your can halfway, make another hole, go exactly opposite, and just keep splitting the difference until you get 16 holes. And like I said, you want it right there on the lower part of that lip, and they don't have to be perfect. It's just going to be flames coming out of there, so one flame's a little higher than the other. It doesn't matter as long as it heats the pan. So, from there, you're pretty much done. If you wanted to get real high tech with it, you could have used the gasket material ahead of time before putting these two pieces together. Just kind of smear some around there. It's messy and it takes a while to dry, and I like to make my cans and be able to use them right away. So what I do is I just get some electric tape and go around a couple times. Try to keep your electric tape just on this seam here, not too close to the burners, because the can does get hot and it will start to melt. So I'll do that for you right now. And just cut it off, and there you go. There's your cheap, efficient can burner stove.
Okay, we're just gonna light this up with a match real quick. It's safe.
Yeah.
It's not as flammable as gasoline or...
Now it'll burn out of the top for a little while until these burners start to prime up. You don't want to just throw a pan right on there right off the bat. You want to let these burners prime up and get going real good.
See that burn a little better? Let me zoom in on it. That's it. Alright, and again, like I said, this is our new channel. Y'all please subscribe and stay tuned. We'll have more videos on the way.